Everyone, and welcome to another pickups video. This is going to be for all of the manga that I got in these first 2 weeks. Just as a starting note, for the next couple months I'm probably not going to, or I definitely am not going to be spending nearly as much as I am currently on collecting, just because I've had a huge amount of sort of bills. I've had some card problems recently, which will be taking up a lot of my extra spending money. In saying that, there will be certain things that I am going to still be getting. Either I've already paid for them, or there will be certain items that I've sort of prioritized my money towards, but there's not really going to be a huge amount of like secondhand releases or sort of catching up on manga, anything like that, just because I really don't have the extra money to go around. In saying that, I've always been someone who sort of just, especially with anime, kind of only buys things that I've already seen, enjoyed, and know I will rewatch again. So I don't think that my anime purchasing will really change that much. Manga, there are certain things that I will be probably putting on hold for a while, and purchasing the volumes that I've missed once I get some more money. But there's other certain releases that I will still be getting regularly. In saying that, there are also things that I've already ordered and pre-ordered and have yet to yet for me to receive them, or yet to actually ship out to me. So I will still be getting things in these next couple months, but it won't be nearly to the level that kind of some previous months have been at. But yes, anyway, so I'll just get to the anime. First of all, there's only 2 things here, but hopefully still something that may interest you. First of all is the UK release of Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. So this is a pretty one-for-one recreation of the US set. I'm not sure if the Sentai Filmworks release has a book as well, but this one doesn't. It just has the series on Blu-ray, DVD, and then the 3-disc soundtrack collection. As for covers and everything, how the discs look, they're pretty much identical to what you can find with the US release, so I'm not going to really go into them. I'm sure there's a million unboxings of the US set of this, so if you want an idea of how it looks, then you can find one of those. It is released by MVM, I believe, in the UK, and this is a series I really enjoyed. It's probably one of the better romantic comedies from the last couple years. The manga is very funny. The characters are a great bunch of different personalities, and I think it's most people do regard it quite highly if you've seen the show. It's not necessarily outrageously laugh out loud funny, at least initially, but it is sort of ridiculous, and the characters grow on you so much, and you do find the humor in the situational comedy. It's more so that type of show, but it is the story of this girl who has feelings for one of her classmates, and once she tries to confess, she actually finds out that he is this like big time, very popular, very highly regarded shoujo mangaka, and she kind of gets dragged into helping him with his manga. There was a big misunderstanding, and so it's kind of about him, his manga, and how the people around him, his friends and classmates and those sorts of things, affect the way the manga is produced and the characters and how like certain events happen. It's very funny. I think it is quite a joy to read. There's a lot of really very humorous scenes in this series. And the manga as well is very, very funny. This series is one that when it was adapted to anime, it is a 4-koma manga, so it's not like a continual it's not the same sort of continuous manga like a majority of manga releases are. It is just short, like 4-panel comedic, like one-off jokes. So it does work quite well in how they've set the show up. But not everything from the manga has been adapted into this anime. They did pick and choose some of the best bits. So it is sort of, it's very, very enjoyable. Like I said, the characters are great. But it does, like, the manga does have extra stuff in it. So I do recommend you read the manga if you're a fan of the show already. Because it is just more of the same. And yes, so this UK release I got because I was thinking about getting the US release for a very long time, and because it's so similar, I thought that it probably would work out better for me if I got the UK release, especially considering the exchange rate right now between the Australian dollar and the US dollar, and then the Australian dollar and the British pound. It did mean that this release was cheaper. It also meant that it was a Region B Blu-ray release, which is not something I normally consider because I do have a regionless Blu-ray player, but I thought if I'm going to buy it anyway, and I'm flip-flopping on it so much as it is, I might as well just get a copy that I can sort of more easily watch. I don't know really how to explain it, but it turned out cheaper for me. It's a nice enough release, and does come with pretty much everything that the US release has. So yes, great series, very nice release, and I'm looking forward to rewatching it. It's been a while. I haven't seen it since it initially came out, but it's definitely one I hope to go back to sooner rather than later. Next is the Aniplex of America film release of Doukyusei Classmates. So this is a short, it's a film. It's only about 60 minutes long, so I was going to say it's a short film, but it's not actually a short film in the sense of that you would think of a short film. But it is only an hour long, and it's based off of this very highly regarded, I believe award-winning BL manga called Classmates, and this film is very, very good. I think it's also quite accessible to a lot of people who wouldn't necessarily call themselves BL fans. I know that this film had theatrical screenings in the US. I'm not sure about Canada, but I know in the US they did. And it was very well regarded, critically acclaimed, and from what I could tell from Twitter, people who went to see it really did enjoy it, and it seemed to do fairly well theatrically. This is the sort of story that I think a lot of people who, it kind of breaks what you would expect from the genre. It's very, first of all, it's animated beautifully. The quality and just fluidity of the animation is phenomenal, and the sort of kind of almost weird art style or character design is brought through very well in this adaptation. The voice acting is fantastic, the sound direction, the music, everything is done very, very well, and the story itself is very endearing. I think a lot of people can relate to it, even if you're obviously not going through sort of this sexual crisis, or you're not necessarily within like a homosexual relationship. I think a lot of people can still relate to a lot of the problems that are brought up in this show, most notably like jealousy, which is pretty standard for every teenager across the world, especially ones in relationships. It's done very, very well. The casting of the two main characters is perfect. I believe that they really do it. It's hard to explain, but it's not, the voice acting in this isn't what I would standardly call like an anime performance. It's not over the top. It's not grand. It's not like ridiculously hyper or cute or gruff or anything like that. It is very realistic and very much like down to earth, and sort of they act like real people. I think that's what I'm trying to say. With a lot of voice acting in anime, it is overly hyper or, energetic and just not realistic to how people talk and interact and everything else. So it's kind of an understated film, but the story it's telling is sort of general and universal enough that I think anyone can enjoy it. With this release, Aniplex has done a phenomenal job. It's actual chipboard, which is not something that they've done for a very long time in their releases. It used to be standard for things like their Blue Exorcist releases, their the first two Monogatari season sets, and some other things I can't think of right now. Durara, their first release of Durara was chipboard, but for most people who follow sort of anime releases, you would know that they've sort of stepped back from the chipboard. It is much more like heavy cardstock that they use for their releases, which is fine, but it doesn't really, in my opinion, it doesn't look as nice as just a standard chipboard set. So with this one, we do have the chipboard. On the back is nothing special. It is just the Doukyusei. And inside we have a couple things. First off is we have the proof of purchase, which is pretty standard for any Aniplex release. We have the film itself, which, like I said, is quite understated, but it matches the film well. And then we have the booklet, which has sort of character art, background information, and I know there's quite a few interviews at the back here. You can get a sense of the animation, like the character design. It is very different, I think, from what a lot of people would expect from this sort of story. And in the back we have like a bonus little manga bit, which is very good. I enjoyed it. So if you're a fan of the film and you saw it theatrically, or or you've read the manga, I know that Manga has a legal digital release of it. Then it's a nice little addition for fans. And then we also have postcards for the series. There's quite a few in here, but I don't want to get them out. As far as price goes, it is obviously an Aniplex set, so it is a lot more expensive than what most people are willing to pay for an hour-long film. It is basically $1 a minute with this one, but I think the quality of the film itself definitely makes it worth the purchase. If you are a fan of this already, I would hope you're buying it. This is really one of those series that is definitely a niche release, and it will definitely appeal to collectors and fans of a certain variety, but I do think that almost anyone can enjoy this film if they're willing to kind of set their expectations aside as to what will happen in the film. It's very good. I think it's definitely one that more people should try. I'm glad that it did so well theatrically and seems to be selling pretty okay, pretty decent for what it is. Aniplex prices are, of course, going to affect overall sales, but I do urge people, if you are interested, a fan of the work, or you've seen it, whether through a convention or through the theatrical screenings, that you do support things like this, because it is a phenomenally well done film, and it's not every day we get a release like this. Coming from someone who is just sort of a BL fan in general, we don't get very many good anime adaptations of BL works. Generally, they're quite, I don't want to say anything too negative, but they're not exactly the things I like to watch, and usually they're either not very good adaptations at all, or the series itself, the manga series, has a lot of tropes or just kind of uncomfortable parts of it that really are the sorts of things that give BL, yaoi, fangirls, whatever, a bad name. I would mention Super Lovers, because that is honestly kind of the worst of the worst at the moment, and it is incredibly popular. It is getting a second season, so not to my tastes, bit too creepy for me, but I mean, Love Stage was alright. The manga to that isn't anything special, and the anime is a good adaptation of the source material, but it's not every day that we get an anime adaptation of a BL manga that is so realistic and sort of doesn't play to what people expect of the genre. So that's my 2 cents of it. Only these, yeah. To wrap up, these are the 2 series, or the 2 releases I got. Actually, I'll do it this way. 2 releases I got this month, or so far for this month. Not too many, but I think the actual quality of release is fairly high. Both of these are great watches. I definitely urge you guys to check them out. Yeah, I don't know whether or not I'll be getting any more anime for this. Oh, well, I will if it comes in on time. I have one more anime thing I'm definitely expecting. I may be getting something else, I don't know. But, like I said, I'm not going to be buying a huge amount in the next couple months. So, yes. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And, yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye till then.